G'day there everybody, welcome back to In My Shed. I'm BC. It's a rather cool morning here in Upper Caboolture, probably down to about 9 degrees overnight, but this is a very well insulated shed, and when it gets cold it bloody stays that way. Beats the heat, but it doesn't warm up much in winter, even with the fan running away. Just a bit of a show and tell today. I've got a steam train running day tomorrow, so I'll be occupied there. And machine moving day probably Monday or Tuesday, whenever I can organise a crane truck to get my next two grinders in here. But we'll just give you a bit of a laugh at my bad luck. I had to move out a heavy machine a couple of weeks ago and put the pallet jack under it, and the pallet jack fails hydraulically, so luckily the truckie had one. And yesterday I go to move my power hacksaw with my little toe jack, and it bloody breaks. It's only a year old, it's been used on 3 or 4 machine moves, and I moved out of the shed, but it's full of shite, so I'll tear that down later on and see what the culprit is inside that. I'm starting to accumulate a few too many machines, and I have got some council approval work to do on the block here, so I need funds. So I think 1 or 2 of my tool and cutter grinders will moved on, and I'll give you a bit of a look at those and let you decide whether you want one. What else is news? Nothing much. Drill grinding has come to a close, I think, unless you've got any questions on that. And also let you know that I found something out with crane trucks. If you want a crane truck for a 1 hour move, you've got a minimum of a 3 hour rate. So I moved a tool and cutter grinder to Graham's place, which took half an hour, and that was $360. And to move 2 grinders here next week's going to be about $570. So it's a bit inequitable, but for what you get, moving over 2 tons of machines and halfway across bloody Brisbane's 110k I think to his place, so it's not that bad overall. Okay, I'll whiz you around to show you which grinder I suspect I'll be getting rid of, and you can see whether you want one. Okay, back again. This is the machine I may be getting rid of. I don't guarantee it. It's labelled Servian, which is an Australian machine tool brand from many years ago, but I'm pretty sure the original manufacturer was Astra, or a subsidiary thereof, AR5-E/ET, I would say 1970s. So it's a bit of an unusual machine in setup. I'm pretty sure they've copied a Deckel or one of the European machines. It's got a double-ended spindle, which is quite compact, and a universal swivelling head, which I'll give you a look at later on. Cable operated table, which has given me a lot of grief. It has a T-slot along the front, which will zoom you in. Yeah, T-slot along the front there to incorporate slots. You can just see it on the left hand side, and a couple of little table stops on the machine. It's in fair condition for its age. It did a lot of work before I got it, and virtually all it's done for me was a few months doing the annular cutters, and then I got the little wrong foo, which is a bit easier to operate in a smaller envelope. The form relief grinding attachment does not go with it. That will stay with me for life, I'm afraid. But all up, it's got a reasonable sized table. Don't have a lot of accessories to go with it. I think I've got one end of the live centres that's missing a spring. It was a spring loaded centre, but it's missing that bit. And that's about all I've got. So if you're after a bigger grinder, I don't know, tool and cutter grinders are getting a bit scarce to get hold of, so probably about $2,500. So I'll move that along, and the reason I can move that, the grinder that's coming has got a much bigger table, so I can have 2 setups on the one machine at the one time with a bit of spare room. Okay, I'll give you a shot from the other side. You can see the double spindle setup. Okay, looking from the side, it's set up with a dual wheel head. Takes a 1A1 wheel over there, and originally there was a table bolted around the base. That'll be the phone, Reg. Okay guys, back again. Try to remember where we were. Okay, it runs a straight 101 wheel over there. I still have the table that bolts on around the middle, and somewhere around here there is a carriage like a D-bit grinder that you can work up against the 1A1 wheel, and it only has a clamping attachment for high-speed steel tool bits, but you could put up any sort of rotary head or an indexer if you wanted. So swivel the head here, swivel the head here, or rotate, and swivel up the top about 15 degrees, so it's a fairly universal item. Look, I re-greased the bearings in the head in a video about 4 months ago. It runs reasonably well. It's not the best grinder around town, but it's in reasonable shape. It's got a stop-start switch up the top there, and a stop button down the bottom, emergency stop. So if I decide to sell it, I'll let you know in one of the videos, and it'll be first in, best dressed. Bring it back when I've got the toe jack apart. Well guys, I'm over the crying and moaning. Just for a change, I've had a bit of a win. Couldn't get any movement out of this at all yesterday. And away it goes. It's still a little bit jerky, but look, it's reasonably well made, and for the cheap price I paid, I don't mind. The big laugh of it is the plug to go in the oil filler hole. There's a bit of soft rubber that's not oil proof. Luckily, an 8mm socketed cap screw was a reasonable fit, and I'll make up a plug out of that to bang in there. One item I would like to really plug is my little Tom Thumb oil filler made by STM Australia. Absolutely bloody wonderful oil filler bottle. So it's something that I didn't have for 50 years. I'm bloody glad I've got it now. Anyway, I can go back to moving machines later today. Bit of excess oil all over the bench, but toe jack is operational yet again. Okay, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for 2,000 plus supporters. I think it's 2,042 now. So yeah, really good the way things are going. And today I've had a win. Maybe I should wipe my hands over the top of the pallet jack. It could come good too. Bye guys.